I recommend Sutera to not only growers and colleagues here in the Central Valley of California, but to other growers across the world. They offer top quality products to help you grow and sustain a healthy crop.
Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with Pacific Nut Producer Magazine, reporting to you from the annual Grape, Nut, and Tree Fruit Expo. I'm here with Giulia Marino. It's great to be back in person. Giulia here started with the UC Cooperative Extension as an Orchard Systems Advisor in January 2020. Yes, a crazy year. Haven't had too many opportunities to get in person, so today's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm so glad that finally can present in person and not being in the computer. Like starting with the COVID has been tough, but I am ready and thank you so much for organizing this event.
Well, Giulia has done a lot of research, especially in the last 2 years on pistachios and irrigation. With this drought, there's been a lot of concern and lack of water availability, and you offered some advice to growers today on how to manage more, get more with less. So what kind of advice would you have to offer pistachio growers with their irrigation?
What I will stress today in my presentation is that it's true that pistachio can use a lot of water, but doesn't mean that it needs all this water. Pistachio can be way more efficient in the way you use the water and transform this in carbohydrate. So I'm gonna speak a little bit about why pistachio has this kind of dual behavior between being drought resistant and using a lot of water. And then I will give a little bit of advice on how to be more precise in understanding how much water the orchard uses, because each orchard is different. And then start to speak and strongly encourage growers to use plant-based monitoring approach, so measuring how much water the plant has, because this is the most precise method that you can afford or can use when you have low water. You want to be precise, you want to check your plants.
So specifically, when growers, starting at the beginning of the season, I mean, where do you have an opportunity to cut back that's not going to cut back on production?
The main period of the season where you want to cut back can be at the beginning. You can generally, there is, apart from here like this, you have some soil moisture or a resource or some water available in the soil, and you can monitor the stem water potential before starting the irrigation. And this can postpone the start of irrigation and save some water. And then the main period of the season when you want to cut off is during shell hardening, which is between end of May, end of June, mid-July. In this period, the trees are not growing nut, there is no embryo growth still, so there is a moment that energetically is safe. The grow is mainly in the trunk and in the vegetative part, and if you cut water in this period, you are more likely of not affecting yield. And studies have shown that in this period you can cut up to 50% and have no effect on yield. But still, all these should be done monitoring the trees, because you don't want to end up having very high stressed trees. And so I always suggest monitor the tree, measure the stem water potential, and cut back irrigation during shell hardening, not during kernel filling, because when the kernel starts to grow, this is a very, very sensitive stage. You don't want to stress the trees in that period, of course, if possible, but the kernel growth is the more energetically consuming stage of pistachio. So this happens basically from beginning of July through all August. You want to have good, well-hydrated trees in this period.
Now, I understand there's a lot of pistachios going into kind of less than ideal soils or more saline conditions or in their water supply. And that might impact their irrigation decisions as well. What advice would you have for growers that are dealing with salinity issues?
Salinity is a difficult topic because salinity affects water use of your orchard in several ways, and it's very difficult to just merge all these factors in one single indication or guidelines. So it's really important that the growers are on the top of their irrigation management and their saline soil. My suggestion is be sure, because in general under salinity the trees are smaller, you have less canopy cover, your ET is going to be smaller. It can be up to 30% less water through all the season. And in general, what we notice is that this reduction of water is more in the second part of the season because of all the ions that accumulate in the leaves and make the leaves necrotic are reducing the transpiring area of the leaves and may close stomata. So it's very important to consider that your orchard is gonna lose useless water, and if you apply more water than one needed, you may end up with problems that are worse for pistachio than salinity itself or drought, which is overwatering.
Well, thank you so much, Giulia. It's great to have you in the UC Cooperative Extension and also on our Pistachio Tasks team in Pacific Nut Producer Magazine. So read more about her there and what her research is. Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.